It begins again as we're gazing off into this beautiful AI work. If we need any more evidence that AI art is the real deal, I present you this. This great work by Paper Doll, Artist Journal, October 2nd, 2023, broadcasting from the editor's desk on the pirate ship of the mind. Deep, deep, deep in inner space. My name is Adrian Pocobelli, and I hope you had a wonderful weekend. To those people that are coming here on a regular basis, I hope you had a great weekend, and hello all newcomers as well. Ever since, putting Twitter video, I mean, it's kind of obvious. It does make a difference, and the numbers are awesome. The show is getting out there, and it's really exciting just from all perspectives. So, as usual, there's an absolutely huge amount of work to go through here today, so I'm going to keep it snappy. There's also some fascinating news stories. MoMA, Musée d'Orsay, and more. So there's a ton to look at here, but let's start with this, work that as I was guzzling my coffee this morning, a few moments ago, I was almost tearing up on this work. And you might say, well, this is just some AI artwork, but it's so beautiful, the conception here. My father was an artist. I am not, in the subtitle here, September 2023, dedicated to my late father, who was an actor. And again, I'm practically tearing up now. And when was the last time you teared up at a artwork? I don't even remember. So Paper Doll continues here with this beautiful subject matter here. And I think it rings home to a lot of us who had a parent or two who were artists. My dad was a physics professor, but he also was an artist. And it kind of, part of what kind of moves me about this, and it actually comes back to the blockchain and the beauty of the blockchain and the beauty of this scene, this international scene with basically zero gatekeepers to get on object.com here, to get into, in my universe, the major leagues. There are no gates to the major leagues here. In my private universe, but as we're going to see, this isn't such a private universe because as we're going to see, MoMA and Musée d'Orsay are kind of dipping their toes in the water in their own little way. I don't want to, but let's stay focused on Paper Doll here, whose work we've started looking at in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I think this is the third work. And look at how beautiful it is. Maybe we can expand it bigger here. But I guess this is what I was getting at here. How many of us had parents who were artists who were pretty much unrecognized? And I don't know if Paper Doll's dad was unrecognized, but the beauty of the blockchain and this whole kind of decentralized culture, it takes a lot of flack from the wider world out there, this whole crypto space. But one of the reasons why people are so devoted to it and kind of loyal to the crypto space and kind of truly love it is this decentralization. How many of us, put it this way, when I see the portrait of Paper Doll's father here, I assume that's who this is. My father was an artist. I assume maybe that's Paper Doll looking at the images that the artist made. That could also be the case. But it just makes me think of someone who maybe made it a little bit, and I have no idea, right? But maybe, the deck was kind of stacked against them. Maybe they weren't networked into the right areas. Maybe they had their own quibbles and personality kinks that they needed to work out. Whatever the case may be. I think of, and a lot of people did well. Again, I think so many of us had parents that were artists. Ed Marola's mom, and I think she's actually doing quite well. I think she's an art professor or something. But all to say, and the expression on the face here, and I think I made this big. This is AI art. Look at how moving this is. So it's beautifully done. And it makes me just really, it just moves me, and it really makes me happy. Look how beautiful this is. So for all those skeptics out there on AI art, like, I submit this to you. I submit this to you. And and if you're going to write this off, then so be it, right? But I disagree. I disagree. So beautiful, beautiful work here by Paper Doll, edition of 10, sold out for 10 Tezos each. And you know what? Like, my impression, and I don't know, so apologies in advance if I get this wrong, but my impression is that Paper Doll is kind of working, building a name on Tezos here, is sort of my impression. Kind of maybe started out not that long ago. Shall we quickly go to the page? But in my world, if you make 100 Tezos off an art piece, you're doing well. That's good. Like, that's real money. That's maybe $70 today, and Tezos could be at $1 at any time, and all of a sudden you're making $100 US on your art. And so this is very, like, when you start bringing in 100 Tezos, to me that's like a little level of, okay, my art is bringing in 100 Tezos. It's like one of the levels in terms of your progress on object or on Tezos. Let's just look. I mean, maybe there's 16 pages here. So I got that wrong. Paper Doll has been around for probably longer than me. Probably a lot longer. But maybe the AI art is newer. But all to say, this is great. And look at this. Secondary of 200 here. These fantastic AI artworks here. What was the first one? I think the first one was on Twitter, unless a whole bunch were minted here. I'm not sure. And we don't have time, actually, to go into everything. But big shout out to Paper Doll. This is looking fabulous. And, I mean, this is like gorgeous narrative painting for 2023. What else do I need? This is fitting the bill. I've had my art meal for the day. I can move on, and I've had art in my day today. Like, mission accomplished here. So again, just beautiful. It's stunning work. I mean, the color, the painterliness, and the composition. I also like the ambiguity. The ambiguity of this figure here, because at first I thought, oh, this is the dad, but maybe this is the dad. Like, maybe this is Paper Doll, his late father. This is what remains. And this kind of is one of the reasons artists make art, is to leave something behind, to try and transcend this mortal coil. Okay, this body of ours, finite in its duration here, its time on Earth, a way of living, quote unquote, living forever, transcending the body here. And here, you see the reflection. I think this is Paper Doll reflecting on the works in the company of his father here. So again, I can't spend too long. And there is a final thing I want to talk about here, which is this great sweater here with these AI textures, and even the texture in the hair and everything. So again, just beautiful work here. Comments on last show. Thank you for the comments. Mick Renders, much love for the feature. Poco, been having so much fun on Zora. The piece you showed is a remix of my Genesis on Zora. This is Mick Renders with some added glitch and color cycling. So a remix. Haven't forgotten about Tezos, but exploring these different chains has been a blast. Keep up the awesome shows. It always makes my morning better. Cheers. And that's really nice to hear. And again, it's really nice to be a part of your morning, Mick Renders. It is an honor. Skomra, great show. I collected so many of the works you discussed. Haha. I was thinking to myself, Skomra, I think if we had like a Collector of the Month award, like, I'd have to give it to Skomra. Skomra is picking up all the gems out here, all the one-of-ones that are just kind of flying under the radar that people are sleeping on. Skomra is quietly accumulating a very significant collection here. Thank you for showing my trees. You're welcome. And what's also awesome, again, it's kind of like the rise of the artist collector here. So many of us are artists and collectors. And this, artists have always been a little bit collectors, but it feels a little different out here. Umbleen, great show about the Pokemon. Remember at the Van Gogh Museum? It's true. It's important to bring young people to the museum, but I'm worried that here people go to the shop without even visiting the museum. And I thought to myself, Umbleen is probably right. Like, these are probably people who are just here to cash in on the gift shop stuff and take it to eBay. They probably don't even walk in. They probably run back home to put it online first. So, probably true. And great point, as I wrote here. Crash Stop. Cider's work reminds me of WebP artifacts. And it got me thinking, and I was almost thinking to myself, like, good idea. Exporting at extremely low resolution and then sampling across layers the artifacts. If you follow me there, just a little bit of technical stuff there. Using the JPEG artifacts as a kind of just very interesting. Maybe that's what's going on in Cider's work. Crash Stop. Runetune, the Pokemon freaks travel strong. New York City has a Pokemon event recently. I didn't go, it's not my thing, but it was big. It's funny, I remember going to a Christmas market in Toronto with my niece, and there's this massive lineup, and we were like, wow, just for the Christmas market. Turns out we were waiting in line at the Pokemon conference, and the Christmas market was around the corner. Luckily, we figured that out after only a couple of minutes. So yeah, Pokemon, it's strong. As we saw in those videos, Edmarola, going to renew my Pixel Lab subscription for a Sprite. Every month, I'll auction something I did with the tool, and I'll also record videos with my experiments. So, looks like this is going to... I think this is just an awesome idea. And again, this is video gold. If you get Edmarola trying out and practically reviewing different tools, like that could bring massive traffic. It is so just very interesting, I think, at least among Sprite users, as far as how, like, Sprite's a fairly large software, I think. Starting with small people now, object.com. So now putting the AI pixel art on, and it's quite original, I have to say. Like, it's pretty interesting. So RJ had quite the weekend here. This work here, Desert Screen, went for 1,169 Tezos. That is I think that's a record for RJ, at least until the next day. So unbelievable auction action. It was super exciting. Excuse me. A heartfelt thank you to Weary Squirrel for winning out and taking this piece home, and to Call Me Drew21 for the fight. Blown away once again. So I think we were looking at this on Friday, and it was at 100 Tezos. There was an auction battle. And auction wars are really interesting because... it can go anywhere because all you need is two people that have to have a work. And that, again, we're kind of back to the magic of the one of one. Like it really, and it's just really exciting. And it's great to see people that are just so excited about the art here, collectors with means who are ready to spend the money. So congrats to RJ and to the collectors here. And here you go again. RJ, thanks once again to Call Me Drew. This work I've had my eye on for a long time. I almost bought it at 250 Tezos about a year ago. Then the price went up. And then, yeah, this is one of those works that got away from me back a year ago. This time from the collection of Morning Screen, the genesis work of The System is a Lonely Hunter collection, and a piece that's super significant to my art journey as a whole. So this went for 1,400 Tezos from Rectosaurus Rex, who had the work. And yeah, so about $1,000. So another basically $1,000 sale there for RJ. The other one went for $800, and that's off the 650 Tezos sale from like last week. So RJ is just having an amazing few days here. The market is starting to figure, from my perspective, is starting to figure out RJ. So I hope you got your RJs because they're going to be a little more expensive probably from here. This week just keeps getting crazier. Thank you very much, Not a Number, for picking up the last two pieces from I Am Online collection. So Not a Number, not wasting any time and getting what can be gotten from RJ while it's still available. So it's getting cleaned out over there. So this is kind of fits into our whole Pokemon discussion. As we were saying, as I was discussing here last time, maybe it's a good thing, and it probably is, that, if kids aren't going to the museum, remember what Brian Artemore was saying in the Spaces last time that, it's for under 25 in France, it's free to go into museums, and it's still just 1 or 2% of people under 25 that are going to the museums. So this just kind of adds to this. We're seeing how the contemporary art market is kind of restricting, and that could have to do with just the financial markets being kind of constricted right now. But don't forget that comment we saw in that article, Katya Kazakina quoting someone at one of these fairs and saying, "There's no works here that are urgent, that people urgently need to buy." Remember that quote from last week? So here we just have another article. The Telegraph, Ben Lawrence, why the public doesn't care about contemporary art anymore. The young British artists marked a time when British visual art felt daring and exciting. Where are their equivalents today? So, which is interesting because they're all still around. And so there wasn't really, the headline was the most exciting part of this article. But I do kind of point you, maybe we'll just look at the end here. I'd like to think that these things come in waves, that there will be a point at which everyone starts talking about the Young Turks of the British art scene again. But in a world where it is harder to make your singular vision stand out, I may have a long week ahead. So just lamenting how, there's no excitement as there was, 20 or 30 years ago during the Young British Artists. I guess that's 30 years ago now that was starting out. And a lot of that, this more than 25 years after the famous Sensation exhibition at Royal Academy, a friend told me, and I don't know if it's true, but it sounds like Charles Saatchi kind of juiced the market a little bit, from what I understand, and I don't know. This is the story I was told, is that Charles Saatchi really pumped up Damien Hirst's market. So all of a sudden there's big sales, and then all of a sudden everybody flocks in, and then all of a sudden the hype is generated. So, my take on this is the YBAs themselves were just a massive hype machine for the most part. I don't want to totally dismiss the young British artists, but for the most part, I'd argue it was a big hype machine. So basically, Ben Lawrence is lamenting the fact that maybe there's not a hype machine anymore, or the public. Look, I think the headline is the takeaway. Why the public doesn't care. The public, I think that's not an inaccurate statement here, to generalize. So now back to that subject here. So MoMA, within our larger conversation about getting kids into the museums, launching October 3rd, a special collection of 15 artist-designed postcards kicking off the upcoming MoMA postcard project. And this uses, I'm not sure if it's Tezos. Launching this month, the MoMA postcard project is an experiment in collective creativity on blockchain, inviting anyone to learn, experiment, collaborate, and create value together with the emerging technology of Web3. Sign up to get early access. So it looks like this is on Tezos, which is interesting. Here's the I guess for lack of a better term, the announcement on the MoMA website. I think it's on Tezos, but it doesn't actually say, which is actually kind of interesting. And I wonder, maybe because Tezos doesn't have as much of the, because you speculate, why is this on Tezos rather than Ethereum? Probably the fees. The fees still are an issue. I think even, I don't know if it was JP Morgan or there was a major investment bank that was saying, the Shanghai, I think it's the Shanghai upgrade on Ethereum has been a letdown, according to one of these massive banks. Okay, so this fee issue, I assume, was because of the fees. But so interesting, and I think, based on just what these comments are here, Tezos is so perhaps it's Tezos. So just kind of interesting to see that. And they actually had the artists listed here too somewhere. So Grant Yoon, Dmitry Cherniak, so kind of some of the bigger artists here. Pixel Fool, Kim Asendorf, and so a few different artists here. So interestingly, dipping the toes in the water here a little bit with pixel art as well in these very lo-fi. I assume these are the works. Interestingly. So again, something very just kind of, we'll do some postcards, digital postcards, really just dipping the toes in the water, maybe seeing if there's like a negative public reaction because it has to do with NFTs and blockchain. So very interesting from MoMA. Now, on the Tezos website, we also had an announcement with the Musée d'Orsay, which, as many of you know, is the main Impressionist museum in Paris. It is a stunning, basically a train station, and it is it has some of the best Van Goghs, it has some of the best Monets. It's basically, I'd argue, the best Impressionist museum in the world, if I had to hazard a guess here. And it is in Paris, not far from the Louvre. So let's look at this. Van Gogh Digital Collectibles herald new partnership between Tezos Foundation and Musée d'Orsay. So here is Tezos again, interestingly. Learn about a new year-long partnership between the Tezos. So again, dipping the toes in the water. We'll do it for a year and let's see what happens. And Musée d'Orsay, which kicks off with digital souvenirs created by Kuru for the museum's exhibition on Van Gogh's final months. And they have this really strange, what looks like an AI artwork here. Zug Switzerland, and let me make this bigger here. Kuru to work with Musée d'Orsay on a digital souvenir for upcoming Van Gogh. So I don't know who Kuru is. They don't explain this. Created by Kuru, so maybe that's an artist here. Musée d'Orsay to collaborate with artists inspired by the museum's collection to mint works on Tezos. Interesting. Collaboration will see exhibition by Web3 artists and educational events. So interesting. Partnership with Tezos-based platform Kuru to issue. So this is a different platform. I've never even heard of this, to be honest. So we'll have to keep our eyes open for that. To issue the first digital souvenirs, not collectibles, but souvenirs for its upcoming seminal exhibition. It's almost like they really want to distance themselves from the speculation side of things. We'll call them a souvenir rather than a collectible. From the seminal exhibition Van Gogh in Auvergne-sur-Oise, The Final Months, which opens on October 3rd. So a big Van Gogh exhibition at Musée d'Orsay. 2 unique digital souvenirs are available to visitors. The first one is a representation of Van Gogh's final palette, almost reminiscent of the Jackson Pollock floor studio floor of all the paint drips, which was lent to the artist by Dr. Gachet in Auvergne-sur-Oise. This souvenir can be easily shared in augmented reality using a mobile phone. The second souvenir is a digital artwork intricately crafted by Kuru in collaboration with the Musée d'Orsay, inspired by Van Gogh's paintings. So this article should have something on what Kuru is. Just a small editorial note there. Editor's note here. In addition to the Musée d'Orsay is dedicated to fostering meaningful connections. So all to say, here's a quote here. Christopher Leribaud, president of the Musée d'Orsay and of the L'Orangerie, which has those glorious Monets that are massive. Definitely, you can visit those probably both in the same day in Paris. They are right near each other. We are excited to offer our visitors the opportunity to take away with them digital souvenirs of this exceptional exhibition. An original reminder of their experience, which won't sit on their shelves, but they will always carry close to them in the memory box of their phone, their computer, or their home screen. For that, we have chosen to partner with Kuru and more widely with the Tezos Foundation for its open and environmentally responsible model that aligns with our values and commitments. So we're kind of back to soft power. Again, remember when it was like, what was Tezos? There's a hashtag, I can't remember what it was, something clean NFTs. Maybe that whole campaign worked quite well. Because here it's like the environmental blockchain, Tezos. Interesting. And finally, Valérie Whiteacre, head of art at Trilitech, a London-based adoption hub for the Tezos blockchain. The Musée d'Orsay team's desire to include Web3 strategies is supplemented by their choice to explore crypto art projects at large. So another interesting thing, because this word gets used fairly loosely, but as Brian, also known as Artemort, pointed out, and so did Xerox, crypto art is a specific genre of digital art, we could argue, which is art that references, from a thematic perspective, the blockchain and the ethos of crypto. So, just as a side note here, as I keep on my editor's hat here, what is crypto art if not the newest art form aspiring for recognition? In addition to the museum's pioneering choice to integrate blockchain projects into their programming, the team's recognition of crypto art's place in celebrating innovation in art and artistic practice is at the heart of this collaboration. So again, I'm not sure if the works that they're making with Van Gogh is considered crypto art. So it's just and there's probably different definitions of crypto art. So anyways, everybody is congratulating each other here, and it looks pretty interesting. So again, what is this all about? Like, what is the takeaway? And here's another article here in Decrypt. These museums and institutions are trying to attract the younger crowd, which frankly, as we were seeing in the Telegraph article, doesn't seem particularly interested in what's happening in the arts right now, interestingly. And what are they doing instead? They're playing video games. So let's just say, like in terms of interest. So, which I think, again, provides us puts this scene in particular, this what I call second generation of digital art who grew up with video games, and you see it all over the place in this work, this aesthetic. I think it puts that scene, this particular scene, in a beautiful position to capitalize really on, because I think if those kids were exposed to the works that we see often on this program, I'm not convinced that they would be totally uninterested. But just a theory. Continuing on, Robness. There was a big debate, I guess, over the weekend on whether NFT is a dumb term. NFTs are a stupid term. Anyways, that arrived when the CryptoPunks and Ethereum Web 2.0 fireside talk goobers showed up. Screw NFTs as a term, and Vincent Van Dough, many of the things people think of as NFTs are not actually NFTs at all. Most rare Pepes are fungible. Right, all editions minted as ERC 1155s or as editions are fungible. When many of the loudest proponents of the technology regularly misuse the terminology, it's time for better terms. So, and then I think, I'm not sure if it was Vincent Van Dough that was saying, let's just call it digital art. So interesting. And Vincent Van Dough, again, who is a prominent, influential collector, is kind of making some waves here on Tezos, picking up some works by Dan Control here. And shout out to, who was it? Shout out, you know who you are. I know who you are. Shout out to the person that tagged me on this. Maybe it's in here. Agor. Shout out to Agor. Thanks for tagging me on this. That was super interesting. So Vincent Van Dough is collecting some Dan Control here. Nice pics, actually. And here's Vincent Van Dough's collector's page. And you see Somfei here, Tachyons, Dan Control, Sabato, RJ, Haiti Rocket, Lorna Mills. So a lot of, familiar faces here. So interesting to see Vincent Van Dough back on the blockchain here, back on Tezos. And maybe never left, for all I know. And here's one of the works. I mean, nice collect here. Nice choice. So you see why Vincent Van Dough is a popular collector. Very nice choice. Of the CMYK by Dan Control. Continuing on, mech.txt, the whole don't interact with small accounts for the algo's sake is abrasive to genuine connection. So for those that don't know, in the Twitter algorithm, it has been mentioned that if you follow someone that has, more, who follows more people than are followed, that's bad for your reach and all this sort of thing. And mech.txt is saying, like, forget all that. Ignore the short-term benefit comes from it. It's expedient at best and malevolent most of the time. And I thought that was kind of a weird thing that they do. Maybe it'll be temporary just to get rid of the bots. I don't know. But I think it's a weird part of the algorithm that they would actually, because it basically it discourages newcomers from actually doing well because they won't get followed. It discourages people following newcomers, which doesn't seem like something you want in a social media site. Genuine interactions to those who truly appreciate and enjoy you as an artist and a person are worth the temporary algorithm downfall, my friends. Aim long. Completely agree, mech.txt. Exactly. Play the long game. Cider. I think it's crazy people romanticize quitting their jobs to pursue art full time. Like, good luck, because you'll really need that. So pretty funny. Cider, of course, studying industrial engineering, and who does quite well. And then I saw this, Spiegel's Masking, and you made this my job. So, it's... I just thought it was a nice contrast, because look, Spiegel's is doing it. But, yeah, it's not an easy path. Look at this. Look at this beautiful video. You made this my job. So good for Spiegel's. And Spiegel's been at it, I think, for years and has, I think, started out in the contemporary art world. So was already down the path of being an artist. And maybe, that's a beautiful... So who knows? I thought both just kind of interesting... Both just interesting comments. And this, you have to see this, and then we'll get through the amazing art that's in this program here. Liliillo, just the process of trying to get an AI painting robot to understand directionality of brush strokes and specifically how to indent your hives. What kind of world is this? Thank you, Art Matter, AbJourney, and Tender Art for all working so hard to get this right through multiple passes and test paintings. Honestly blown away by this endeavor. So this is a kind of holy grail of sorts, and it kind of brings us back to Paper Doll at the start of this episode, because what's going on here, of course, Art Matter are like what I want to call the magic pen plotters who can also do paint plotting with a brush that we've been looking at. We had them on the Twitter Spaces maybe 2 or 3 months ago, the start of the summer in June. That was awesome. And so it looks like they're working with the AI artists to make original paintings. And as you can see here, pretty fascinating. So as Liliillo puts, what kind of world is this? You make it as an AI, and then all of a sudden you have this gorgeous oil painting. We were discussing last episode how digital is a completely different way of making art compared to physical art. Now, this is kind of all going like next level in terms of art making and how different this is. This is using AI to create your art, and then you send it over, and then you kind of edit the machine until you do tests until you get what you want. I mean, fascinating. Danielle King, thrilled to be curated in Reflections by the wonderful AbJourney and Tender Art, working with the team at Art Matter to produce physical paintings of our AI portraits. Frida, one of my pieces for the show. So here is another one. Danielle King. So this is a physical artwork. So fascinating. I assume this is the physical version. I mean, it's incredible what they're able to do. And so it's going to be exhibited in New York City along wonderful artists here. And here is the tender. Here is the show here. New Painterly AI Portrait Series by 9 artists. So each piece is a one-of-one physical painting created by Art Matter. So pretty interesting. Just fascinating. And here's a little more. Ira Greenberg, who is artist, professor, director, and MProp's co-founder. So, okay, so let's take a look at this. Sneak peek of Art Matter co-creation of an image from my Painted Heads series. So another artist here, and look at the texture on this. So again, texture is kind of like the holy grail of digital art to a certain degree, like real texture, or like turning things physical like this. It raises a lot of questions here. And it's just fascinating to see. So looking quite beautiful. And it's almost got a bit of a Rembrandt kind of feel to it, doesn't it? Kind of the very buttery brushstrokes. If I had to compare it to anyone, it's kind of got a Rembrandt feel, although quite different. At least on that artist, Pale Kirill. I can say without exaggeration, this show will be one of the most significant in my journey personally for me. Details soon. I mean, and this is why I'm spending so much time on this. Like, this could be a very important show. Is this the first, AI collaboration with this Art Matter, paint plotting? So like cutting edge AI meets cutting edge painting tools, like pen plotting, paint plotting tools. I mean, it raises a lot of questions here. Continuing on, strange thing. Exciting news. Thanks to Right Click, I now have a profile for you to easily explore my portfolio and info. So how cool is this? And so strange thing here. It's like the link tree in your bio, but here you have all the sales you've made, the super rare, the high. So it's kind of like a little bit more specialized for, blockchain artists here. And anybody can sign up. One link, all your artworks. Easily share all your minted artworks and listings with just one link, no matter the contract or blockchain you use. Claim your profile. So how cool is that? So just very interesting here by Right Click. Nice URL there too, rc.xyz. Into the art we finally go here, and check this out. This is Xuozo, or XUOXO, and let me just get some... Emotional landscape. Like, I'm going to have to pick this up. Can you believe there are 17 left? I mean, I'm going to have to pick this up before this disappears. Emotional landscape. Zozo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Just brilliant. Emotional landscapes. Brilliant. And Curio Fringe, Desires of the Unwell Man, 2023. So I didn't see this minted anywhere. But again, kind of this indie digital art scene. Big influence on Hasdrubal Waffle, who we're going to see here in a second. So just super cool. I didn't see this minted anywhere, but it's possible it is. So continuing on, and here's Hasdrubal Tiger, who is now being called Hasdrubal Tiger, D7, Dimension 7. And again, just wonderful experimentation here. From Hasdrubal Waffle, and nice big chunky pixels here. And probably using a couple of paint tools, I'm assuming. Maybe a copy and paste, taking this guy here and just separating it probably from the other piece. Who knows? All looking cool. Edition of 3, buy now for 100. So it's sent to Rinny Fish. Let's just look at who, or was it bought? Sale to Kobe Seiseyo for 34, and transferred to Little Cakes. And so, I feel like I don't get the full history here anymore. Oh, there we go. Transferred to Rinny Fish and transferred to Lagojo. So super cool. Another really cool work by Hasdrubal Waffle, Authentic Waffles, Deep Thibodeau, and Hasdrubal Tiger. Now Hasdrubal Tiger. Nuv 1914. As we start again with one of my kind of favorite kind of areas right now, which is, again, what I call this indie digital art. So Nuv 1914 with another kind of edgy work. These two people in the rain with a massive gradient frame. Interesting colors and everything. Sold out for only 5 Tez each, all going to Magician. Let's see what else here. History here. Magician is buying all of them. 5 Tezos each. And there we go, edition of 3, and look at this. Beautiful kind of dancer with green, big green frame gradient here. And this was interesting. This is not new, and we started looking at Martin Brook. I think we've seen actually months ago, we looked at Martin Brook, but here, this is a work that was minted a few months ago, but just Scamra put in a bid on this 1 of 1 by Martin Brook on Ethereum on Foundation, 0.05. And here it is, just like more experimental digital art here, just kind of edgy and really cool, unusual, and just kind of exciting. So Scamra, 8 hours to go on this work here by Martin Brook. And also, it looks like it could hang in the same room here. Really interesting new piece by Ed Marola here. And this is on Foundation, and here you see all sorts of mayhem here, and skeletons and a bird and everything with the classic kind of moving pixels here, and kids over here and everything. Just a wild kind of work, sampled brush, pixelated, Any description? Aseprite and Procreate, Vast Garden, 0.15 Ethereum. And a new work here in the Marginalia series by Sabato, and collect for 18 Tezos. And just another kind of... So Sabato is getting a little edgier in this Marginalia series with just more negative space than the drawing exercise series. Like playing a little bit with aesthetics and just leaving things kind of empty in certain areas. It's pretty cool. And also this is cool. I've never seen this kind of patterning from Deluxe Paint 4. And look at this interesting move here. So it seems like an opportunity for experimentation from Sabato here. Any information? Deluxe Paint 4 on an emulated Amiga 1200. Excuse me. Yuri J, transition number 9. So a couple of new transitions here. So again, same structure, different colors, different fill. One of one here from Yuri J, and here's an addition of 11. So this is an addition of 11 for 4 Tezos. This is an addition of 1 for 50. Very cool. And look at this beautiful work by Santiago, who continues to keep it original here. Free open edition on Zora, part of the Neutro Arts show. There's a space. I didn't see that. So there was a space in Neutro. Yeah, I think Trippy Collector helps out with that, or maybe curates that. Not sure. Check it out. It's on Zora here. Hyphae building and a free mint. 66 have been minted so far. Very cool work here. Basically 10,000 by 10,000 from Sabato. Mycelium and Miscellany. Miscellany. Rustic digital art. Almacan. Photoshop and a mouse. So another cool work here. Probably from memory by Rustic Digital Art. Edition of 10, and offers are coming in already. Here's Magician. Another collector, big collector here. Rustic Digital Art, Game Boy Color. So this is interesting too. Typed works on the blockchain. Typed.art, I believe, is the name of the website. This was a big thing, I don't know, a year ago. And it's cool to see Rustic Digital Art bring it back with a little poem. And yeah, it got me thinking. I was going to make a whole bunch of synths on there. I did a couple, but I could do a lot more. So interesting move by Rustic Digital Art. The Sean Martin Wild High-Speed Chase of a Stolen Jaguar digital painting. So I assume this is Procreate, but let's take a closer look. So almost like an O.J. Simpson type composition here. And here you see the brushwork here, beautiful texture here, and just kind of an interesting painting from an artist I haven't seen before, the Sean Martin. And this is, there's one left at 5 Tezos here. And Turkarak, Headmistress. So just another interesting illustration, kind of painterly illustration by Turkarak here, with what looks like a teacher and a child in trouble with someone else looking on here. So again, very contemporary sort of scenarios here by Turkarak. Edition of 1, and that is only 10 Tezos. Gloomtube, Weird Memories and Lost Time Experiences. So I'm not sure if this is still the UFO alien theme. It kind of feels like it just from the writing here, more kind of cryptic experimentation. And here you see almost like a politician, US politician with the pin here, Gloomtube looking up at the sky, the ashtray. I mean, kind of surreal work here from Gloomtube. Edition of 15, now on secondary for 35. Uxine with a kind of a diptych of sorts, podcast question, and nice processing here and everything. Nice digital artwork with the halo and podcast answer. So seemingly like a bit of humor in here. Nice crop here too. And here you even see a bit of animation here with some kind of broken up ASCII-like text. Almost like an old film here with the dust going through. So interesting kind of work there, kind of cryptic. I got an idea like a cartoon character, edition of 40, and here's a light bulb here. So interesting work by Ugo, keeping it new and interesting subject matter, nice texture. And this is by Osbrin, who I haven't seen for a while. Let's see if there's volume. There's no volume on here. And of course, often has like the Game Boy that's kind of fidgeting and everything. Here it's a church on fire with interesting kind of grass in the foreground here and nice pixelated fire. So interesting commentary here. The chapel on the hill, buy now for 1 ETH or a reserve of 0.85. From the ashes, a new hope will rise. I think you'd call that an anti-clerical work traditionally, where it's like works that are critical of the church. I think you'd call anti-clerical. Sumireusi, illusion. So playing with the picture in a picture, the infinite regress here that, again, it reminds me of Golden Age comic covers, like Walt Disney's Comics and Stories. Sometimes you get Superman, Batman. The 1940s, Illusion, edition of 10, Sumireusi, a new painting. Kind of bringing in some photographic elements here, interestingly. And interesting how it's cropped here, but you see over here the full person. Interesting composition, quite nice. Edition of 10, there are 5 left at 5 Tezos. Quilanina, who does a lot of, I'd be tempted to call like visionary painting, mystical painting out of Peru and Argentina. Midnight Bonfire, digital painting in Procreate. Also does a lot of physical painting. And so here, again, you see the rainbow at midnight here and the tree coming from above and the bonfire. So just a really interesting artist. Some mushrooms growing out of the foreground here. Super interesting artist. Midnight Bonfire, and this is an open edition at 3 Tezos each, only 9 minted so far. And here is another one, example of Quilanina's work, and look at the ground here. So just really cool, the plants, and also the kind of the pixelated sun up here, which looks like it's done manually. So interesting work, really bright colors, just interesting work, and kind of reminds me of this. I saw this on my feed, Erowid, which is a major kind of psychedelic education feed and website, showing Huical yarn painting from the Nayarit area of Mexico, showing peyote in a colorful mandala. Kind of reminds you of that, doesn't it? Even the sun here, which is why I'm showing it here. Like there's something kind of similar in it. Available as a thank you gift for an Erowid contributor. So all to say, just kind of interesting, the parallels there. Fantasy by Luciana Gueroc. This is an edition of 1. Looks like it's sold for 250 Tezos. I tell you, there's an appetite out there for Tezos 1 of 1s. Look at this. So cool work here from Luciana Gueroc. Gueroc. Okay. And this is called Fantasy. So again, looks like abstract experimentation here and just a lot of kind of mark making, kind of semi-figurative and also abstract. So just a lot going on there. Looking different too, looking like playing with some different colors here too, just kind of interesting. Here's another work which seems to be referencing Bruegel here, but only distantly. Work in progress, Ergot's Land, and Ergot I thought was a psychedelic there too, so interesting. And so, yeah, again, looks like, I mean, Luciano was playing with Hieronymus Bosch kind of references, and even did, I think, a kind of homage of sorts. Here it looks like Bruegel, doesn't it, in the figure here? So interesting, and even just in the kind of the grand composition, almost looks like a melding of Bruegel and Bosch, actually, interestingly. Continuing on, Ezra Eslin, and I don't think we looked at this. This is from a couple of weeks ago. It is sold now for 0.77 ETH. I'm your biggest fan. And I don't think we saw this. Kind of looks like a bar or a nightclub or something, people hanging out, and at the end, maybe someone dragging out the singer. I don't know. So again, Violence as Satire from Ezra Eslin out of Istanbul. And Tornado Rodriguez, A Night Like Any Other. So this is with the Neutro Arts Mycelium and Miscellany. And here it is, a free mint. So 247 minted already, which is totally awesome. And did I bring it up big? No. So let me just do that now. So cool work here from Tornado. So, and just very fun. And again, you see the mushrooms as part of the, and there's more. And there's the artist, maybe Tornado in this work here as well. And so just another cool illustration. And the band playing out there, out front or on the side, and someone taking pictures. So just a cool work here from Tornado Rodriguez. Super interesting color again. And here is the process, which is pretty fun too. I'm going to mute the music for copyright reasons primarily, just in case. So you see everything coming together here. So super cool here from Tornado Rodriguez. Like I always like to say, And we can't show the whole thing, but you know, your work in progress is very much your marketing. Here's another shot, and it looks pretty cool, the black and white with just the spray paint and the mushrooms here in the picture highlighted here. So great promo from Tornado. Check this out. Yinskiri, artist I've never seen before. Today's minimal work. Have a nice weekend. So another new discovery here. Pretty cool abstract work from this artist here, Yinskiri. I've never seen any very original work here, original color and everything. So super cool. Maybe it could hang in the same show as Caving Wild with a new one, Aerostroke, on Tezos here on Object. Edition of 12, just another super interesting minimal geometric abstract work. And 11 left, and yeah, that's called Aerostroke, and they're $250 each. Is this Not a Number? It is. Work in progress from Not a Number. So continuing to experiment probably with the P5JS so some programming. Again, we saw all those dithered, I think, works by Not a Number. So interesting work here. Again, probably generative, I'm assuming. Element Lee, who isn't minting a lot of this work, just kind of posting it, interestingly. Another version, 256 by 256 pixels. I think Element Lee's favorite canvas size. And again, created on a cell phone here. I suspect experimental pixel art made with a cell phone. Super original artist. And here's a different version. So again, playing with this digital, in digital, you can make different versions. So why shouldn't you? It's a very Warholian approach, as I said, before, is Warhol just going to do one screen print and leave it at that? And heck no, I'm going to do a billion, as many until the screen, runs, until the screen doesn't even work anymore. Cap'n Fields. So a couple of experimental abstract works, pixel art works by Cap'n here. Actually, these are representational. This looks like a landscape. Look at this great sun of horizontal lines. Looks like it's done manually, which it's seemingly, but not necessarily. Cool clouds, just awesome. And even the yellow at the bottom. Cap'n is like so exciting, everything that comes out these days. And here's another one, In the Distant Hills. I mean, just incredibly poetic work here. Again, I'm kind of back to the start of our show here with the institutions trying to get the kids into the museums. Here you go. I don't think, here you go. Just get the artists, that are on the... But again, I think it's an awareness issue. I really do. And it's, I had to be doing this show for 8 months, 6 months before I really, even to bring on pixel art at the beginning was kind of like a jump for me. It probably started 3 weeks in as I started this show a little over a year ago. It's not like it was automatic. It's like, well, is that art? Is the question you're asking yourself? And here we are a year later, and we're look at this gorgeous poetry here. Look at this gorgeous landscape. I mean, it's so original, right? It's so fresh. But there is an aesthetic development or evolution that's required on the part of the viewer, even if you have all the art history in the world, because it's new. And that makes it difficult, okay? And then it's not in the traditional areas. It's on Twitter. This is the only place I know, and maybe the blockchain it'll eventually be on. See what I'm saying? Like, it's not an easy... I suspect it's an awareness issue. Look at this. This is also Cap'n. Not sure what that means, but look at this experimentation here. Huge, chunky pixels, and then underneath you have some blue, different kinds of pixels, and then other kinds of pixels in the background, and then the pot made of different... So seemingly experimenting with different kinds of pixelation, for lack of a better term. Here's very small, here it's fairly large, here it's massive. And then the color as well. So Cap'n, just brilliant. And Loacme, apparently it's called Color or something, so just a cool work that was posted on Twitter here. And again, celebrating the dithering and the pixelation and the color of the screen, really. And this looks like almost like a black and white version. How cool is that? Okay. Super cool. A narrator and Gogolitis with explainer gallery. So out of, I believe, Shanghai, out of China. So just more cool work. And I love this. I love you in Je t'aime, ich liebe dich, te amo. So just beautiful. So I love you in several different languages. And here is Gogolitis collaborating with a narrator. So brilliant collaboration. Look at the heart. It's genius. Just beautiful. Mech.txt, take me to your adventures, friends. Good night. So just a cool... And I was looking for it. I thought I had saved it. Mech.txt put a work out on Sloth. I don't think it's this one, but put out some comic work on Sloth, the magazine that comes out that features a lot of Tezos art, actually. Pixel art by P1. So here is another kind of stained glass inspired, perhaps, pixel art work by P1. Some more interesting experimentation. This one is quite detailed. Available for 2 Tezos 10 cents, 10 left. Probably just minted. Here is a Pamelo Cerrone 1 of 1 at auction for $14.69. And here it is. So just a nice simple one here from Pamelo Cerrone, super prolific. And again, 1 of 1s, like you'll get something for it very likely if you're mint a 1 of 1, put it on auction for, how much did Pamelo start at here? Let's look very quickly. Start at minimum bid 10 Tezos. So there you go, already at $14.69. What I want to shout at the neck of evil. So really interesting, different kind of work here from Demon Ego. And just interesting structures here, a bit more digital than the other ones. I don't see any collage, physical elements here. Although, maybe down here, and maybe it's just kind of processed and dithered. So again, maybe this is physical and it's being dragged digitally. Not sure. It is actually starting to look like some sort of collage element that has been animated. So continuing down that route of combining physical and digital, interesting, someone kind of screaming here and stretched out. So playing with the stretching. Early Worm Perry, Kurt Hustle Collective. Super interesting work here. And a worm that is blowing out a bubble, only on DBO, early. And so just a cool work here. Now it's 55 Tezos, edition of 15. Early Worm Perry is only and forever on DBO, Early Worm Perry. And another video work here. This is Core 3. So maybe someone, I think I just discovered on Twitter here. So interesting, kind of nice and, what's the word? Nice and noisy, kind of nice and distorted analog video type work. Animated abstract, so that is cool. And here's Ex Mortal blade running, just taking a body and going with it and running, and X-ray and everything. The body's always interesting as subject matter, kind of universal subject matter. Keep running, man. And so this is an edition of 15 for $8.40 on secondary, so sold out on primary at $6.66. And there is Magician again, Kota Nakazono, green number 3. So quite a beautiful, there are a few stills put out by Kota Nakazono here. I thought this looked pretty stunning. And so there's one beautiful one. Again, that massive, chunky pixel kind of margin frame is beautiful. Great color choice there too from Kota. Edition of 5, looks like it's sold out. And yeah, sold out at 5 Tezos. And so ton of action going on. Like there is a ton of action going on Object right now. Untitled number 2, Kota Nakazono. This looks like it's sold out. Very healthy market here. So just interesting kind of, stills. Because of course, Kota Nakazono often does animations. These beautiful animations. So interesting stills here from Kota Nakazono. Continuum number 16, PNG, edition of 5, and that is 40 Tezos. And here you see on Instagram, commissioned work for Contact High magazine, Into the Parallel. And so here you see some of Kota Nakazono's work in physical form. So that is pretty cool too. Nice magazine, nice book. So very cool. Continuing on, Bosque Gracias, as we get close to wrapping up here. Some more negative works, and you see kind of like last time we had the creation of Adam. Now that has been kind of replaced by this flower here and this beautiful red, monochromatic red, kind of flower-looking painting thing. So a lot going on here conceptually, isn't there? Camera, creation of Adam, the replacement. It almost looks like a slide. Very interesting. Spring creation, only 3 Tezos, edition of 5. Gotta love it. And another one, edition of 5, 3 Tezos. St. Peter is bigger than Arapachis. Not sure what that means, but here it looks like a statue of St. Peter. And here we see the negatives. Again, always keeping it new with the negatives, and I love that about Bosque Grazia's work here. Always keeping it new in the composition there. Super interesting. Here's Salawaki. Let's get that going.
Hello, mon ami. You've been working too hard. I think it's time for a vacation.
Hello, room service. I have a delivery for you.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
It's kind of a wild work here. I mean, that sounds like Goa trance type of synth effects. So pretty cool. And there we go. And we can't show, but we pretty much showed almost all of that. So anyway, cool work from Salawaki. Edition of 20, and it's now on secondary at 19. Let's just see what it sold for. Only 5 Tezos on primary. Very cool. And continuing on Skamra with Tree 3. So again, playing with stable diffusion here and getting these super interesting textures and lines and everything. So let's just see. Looks like sold out here at 2 Tezos each on primary. And here's another tree. So super interesting here. And collector of the month there, Skamra. Funfair number 3 by Soom. So another beautiful funfair. I love these works by Soom and these beautiful just carnival type shots here. This one looks like it's in winter. Beautiful. AI. Tukes with another interesting work here. Again, when I see this kind of framing device, totally reminds me of like Bellini. It's kind of like a Renaissance painting trope where to frame the image, to kind of naturalize the image, you know, you put the Virgin Mary and then maybe St. John and St. Peter on the other side. And then you have this almost like a window that you're looking onto. So similar device here, but looking onto a landscape by Tukes. And here's another one by Tukes with almost a RJ type laptop in there. So pretty cool. And I follow Tukes. That is a Twitter bug, by the way. So anyways, another cool work by Tukes. And of course, here's another one by Soom, Consolation. And so this is part of a larger series, and there were several put out here. So these huge flowers and these kind of very pale figures. So it's an interesting series, sentimental JPEGs. And here's one by Sodad, Argument. Sometimes argument can win the situation, but lose the person. So I don't think we've seen a work by Sodad for a while here. And here is an AI artwork and of a people in an argument. So pretty interesting. Looks pretty heated. Edition of 10 for 5 Tezos, 7 left. And here's Nuv 1914 again with what look like physical works. So more just really interesting kind of, again, courageous painting here from Nuv 1914. Amistosos, just really interesting work. Super interesting artist. Edition of 4 sold out. Selling out at 5 Tezos each. There's Magician on the scene again. David Hales. This kind of has a weirdly kind of an Egyptian feel to it. I've been showing a lot of David Hales, being a big fan for a long time. Just an awesome artist who's constantly producing. Followed on Instagram for a while. Watercolor and ink. Just super talented. Here's another one by Rune Christensen, which is with the Christine Hielergerdy Gallery. This is another one that's at Cole Gallery and with Joachim Official. Not sure who that is. Coffee at Badale Street. So this just looks like flowers, but beautiful. Super interesting. I mean, this artist, again, what makes them really interesting is seemingly, when you look up close in person at these works, it looks like neon orange or neon pink kind of, here in this case, neon orange underpainting, rather than your classic sepias. So it really just kind of gives it more of a modern sort of feel. I think that's part of what's going on there. And of course, Joao Salazar with a really interesting work here, a black and white painting full of skulls. So an interesting title too, so kind of a darker work, Call, by Joao Salazar. The physical piece will be drawn among the edition's collectors once it's sold out. Shipping is not included. The winner of the draw must provide complete details and payment. If the winner does not claim the physical piece or declines to cover standard shipping costs, the artist will retain the physical piece and have the freedom to decide its future. So pretty interesting. So basically, if you mint this, it's like buying the lottery ticket. And it looks like, is this still open. Not sure. So interesting. Maybe someone got it for only 0.02 for the physical. This is brilliant also by Joao Salazar. Love the title here. Overload Disputed Territories. And I think that's brilliant. The disputed territories in our minds here with all these people fighting for our attention here. Power, the busyness in Yoao's works here kind of reflects the busyness in our minds and our crazy kind of Twitter digital lives, our busy digital lives. And of course, here's another great one by Walk. I think it's called Selfie. The Selfie by Walk. So super prolific artist here. Another awesome work here. Brilliant. Contemporary, art of the present, as J.G. Ballard would say. And that is your show, my friends. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, take care.